This is the Drunkdeer A75 Ultra. This has a shock-absorbing mechanism to it that sort of imitates a gasket-mounted keyboard. In this review, I will go over why this, I think, is the most superior magnetic keyboard today. Not only is it beautiful, it also has specs and features that will blow your socks off. Currently, there are no gasket-mounted magnetic keyboards due to the potential of messing with the magnets, but Drunkdeer found a solution and applied it to the A75. More on this later in the build segment of this video. Being a magnetic keyboard, this is the new standard for gaming as you get options of setting up actuation points for as low as 0.2 mils. Plus, this is a true 8K keyboard as the microchip scans magnetic changes to your keyboard at 8,000 times a second, and then sends those signals to your PC at another 8,000 times a second. Good thing Drunkdeer had scan rate in mind when making this keyboard. This is paired with the Qian switch that to my ears is the thockiest magnetic switch ever made. In the event you prefer other magnetic switches, freely swap them out as Drunkdeer A75 works with any magnetic switch, even without calibration. Drunkdeer made this possible by constantly calibrating the keyboard upon powering up to ensure any temperature, humidity, or any other factors won't affect the magnetic sensors. Now, let's go over software. So right here, we have the software of the Drunkdeer A75. Firstly, you'd be greeted with the Performance tab, where you could set actuation points. You could do it for WASD or all keys, and then adjust it right here, and then click on Save the Keyboard. Now, you will also have Rapid Trigger mode right there. Release Dual Trigger. I have not checked what this is, but I'm pretty sure it's very much similar to another feature of other magnetic keyboards that I've tried, just with a different name. But last win right here is the SOCD. I already have it activated for A and D. Now, for RT Match, this is a feature I've never seen on a magnetic keyboard before. Basically, it's going to adjust the rapid trigger settings based on what it detects as optimal for you, based on your gameplay. It adjusts real time, which I think is really cool. Moving on, we have here turbo mode. You turn that on, input latency will decrease at its maximum. Keystroke tracking, I have not checked what this is, but I honestly think this is NKRO or all key ghosting, but I could be wrong. If you know what keystroke tracking is on the software, please educate us below in the comment section. Alright, so let's move on to the color tab right here. I think what's worth mentioning here is that you could choose custom lights for each key. As for example, I want WASD to be color red. That's very much doable here on this keyboard. And of course, you have other lighting modes right here, which are self-explanatory. Let's move on to the last tab. We have here the remap, which is basically the key binding options. So you have characters right here, numerals. Oh, you have also mouse movements right here. So you could basically move your mouse with your arrow keys, but just set them up. You have here 2 function layers. For the first function layer, I've already edited this to add in RGB controls. Now, that's pretty much it. Firmware download, language, and of course, the color mode that you want the software to be in. That's pretty much everything. Got questions? Let me know in the comment section below. The box contents include the keyboard, a huge manual, a sticker pack, a thick cable, key puller combo, 2 extra Qian switches, and extra highlighted WASD keys along with an escape key and an enter key. Lastly, you also get rubber feet that are taller than the stock feet. So firstly, the cable looks really good and gamery. Also suits the dark build, and I'm glad this isn't some generic black cable. I wish a PET dust cover came along with this, so I would advise to get an acrylic cover or any kind of cover for dust protection. The extra keycaps are a plus for further customizations on the board. The knob is made of metal with another metal base. It has edges to it that add to the theme of the keyboard. Now onto the keyboard. This is an aluminum and plastic built together, but mostly aluminum. This weighs 1.7 kilograms, which is really hefty. And my favorite feature, its floating air suspension design, where this basically has springs under the PCB for a shock absorbing mechanism. This can be deactivated with a switch underneath for options between a bouncy or a stiff top case. Now underneath, you get rubber feet that are replaceable with thicker rubber feet for angle adjustments. Great implementation on an aluminum keyboard and really well thought out design for ergonomic options. Then you get aluminum back plates for design. Not sure if these contribute much to the weight though. Lastly, you get the USB-C pan to the left top side of the keyboard. Anyhow, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Let's move on. Keycaps here are PBT dye sub printed keycaps in cherry profile. The Drunkdeer font is really cool. It kind of looks like runes, especially the D. I like the arrow key icons, including the enter key, backspace, and escape key. Other modifiers like tab, caps, and so on have highlighted first letters, which adds to the keycaps prints. Then the alphas have Morse code side prints to them that to me don't look too overly flashy. Stabilizers are what you could expect from a $200 unit, tight and firm with minimal rattling. The spacebar 2 has almost no rattles to it. Well lubricated stabs overall. The switches here are Qian switches with 35 grams of actuation force, perfect sweet spot for light presses for speed. This has LED diffusers in them for a more balanced LED glow, and they are pre-lubricated rated as well for a smooth plastic-to-plastic contact within. Plus, these are said to be even better and more stable than the competition thanks to its magnet composition. Thus, a more premium, higher price tag that's justified. These really sound surprisingly thocky, and all that thanks to the fully dampened internals of the keyboard. Listen here. This is offered in two colorways, the Ignite and Tourmaline, feminine and masculine choices. The colorways I think were thought out right, not just the simple black and white that we see on other magnetic keyboards. But upon first look, I know there will be lots to talk about here. The knob has a red shiny base along with a red metal accent by the top right corner. You don't get that accent by the top left, by the way. Now the body of the keyboard is black and silver. I think this has lots of layers of aluminum, but I'm not tearing this down to find out. For branding, you get the Drunkdeer logo engraved in the right bottom side of the keyboard, and the red accent too has engravings on it. Now onto the side profile, I like the separation between the top case and the bottom case. Looks very futuristic and definitely not low-key. Now underneath, this is where things get interesting. You get cutaways, textures, and shiny plates making this look like Power Ranger-ish, but it's actually inspired by the 6th generation fighter jets, which explains the 6th gen print on the spacebar. Now for RGB, this has lots of RGB modes and a glow that's not too bright, but I don't think it's an issue. I have seen brighter LEDs than this, but it has a standard level of glow and it's not disappointing. Anyhow, there's that. Links are in the description below. Again, highly recommended if you do have the budget. And if you have any questions, comment down below and I will get to you as soon as I can.